He finally said it. Leonardo DiCaprio finally said what Titanic fans have been whispering about for years. He never married Kate Winslet. He had avoided questions, kept quiet, and looked sad on red carpets for decades. What he told them is sad beyond words. Even though they laughed, smiled, and seemed to get along great, he had a secret that he hadn't told anyone until now. You might never watch Titanic the same way again after hearing what kept them from becoming more than friends. There was a casting call, 2 up-and-coming stars, a famous love story, and energy so real that the cameras couldn't hold it in. In 1996, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet met on the set of Titanic. Neither of them knew that they would go on to become one of the most famous movie couples ever. The world fell in love with more than just Jack and Rose, though. They were there between takes, behind the scenes. There was a new thing taking shape. It was like a bond, a rhythm or security that didn't need to be planned. Kate has said in comments that she felt at ease with Leo right away. "No one else on that set could make me laugh like he did." And Leo once said that it didn't feel like work at all to work with Kate. "Even though we were kids, we had a special bond. I trusted her right away." What began as a job relationship grew into something more. Not emotional at all, but close in a way that's hard to describe. They made fun of each other and laughed. Their words were known to each other. They weren't in their trucks when the cameras weren't rolling. They laughed, talked, and learned from each other while sitting next to each other. Most people don't know this either. Off-screen too, they couldn't be separated. Titanic was over and most of the co-stars went their different ways. But not these two. They kept in touch. They called. They both went to the openings of the other movie. There was no romance tag on their trip. They were just best friends. But was that all there was to it? Thoughts were being passed around even back then. Crew members said they felt tense. Not the awkward kind, but the kind where something isn't said. The kind that two people have when they want more. Don't say it out loud though. That stuff wouldn't bother Leo and Kate. In public they were just friends. But behind closed doors things were more difficult. They were very close, but they never crossed that line. We now understand why. When the time is always wrong, what does that mean? When the person who knows you best isn't yours, what do you do? Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet have been with each other for more than 20 years. There have been breakups, business highs and personal lows, but they've always come back to each other. Leo was there when Kate got married in 2003. Kate was very upset in the front row when Leo won his Oscar. And guess who Kate called first when she got divorced in 2010? They were always there, but they never had each other. In fact, some people say that they made a secret deal early on not to make things more complicated. Kate gave a hint about it in an interview. "We were too dependent on each other to lose touch." Leo said the same thing many years later. "She's my best friend in the business. She's unique." But was there more to that friendship than just friendship? According to people who knew them well, there were times when the line between friendship and love became fuzzy. These were brief, private, and unplanned times. Sometimes they would look at each other for too long, sit too close, or mutter things that the other would never say out loud. But something shut the window every time it opened. Sometimes it was the right time. Sometimes it was fear. Leo was known for never committing to anyone. He was always with models and was never publicly linked for long. For Kate, on the other hand, she wanted security, a marriage, and a regular family life. They never let go of each other, though. They've said that their relationship is strong, clean, and even soul deep, but it's never romantic. That's what they told us. At age 50, Leo is finally telling the truth about what happened. It changes everything we thought we knew about their story, because nobody thought he would never marry her for that reason. He may have just made the hardest statement of his life. It wasn't said at a press meeting. It wasn't really about the movie. He also didn't say it while cameras were rolling, or reporters were leaning in. It was very quiet, almost like a whisper. It was a rare, unvarnished moment. During a sit-down conversation, Leonardo DiCaprio, who is usually very private and quiet, was asked if he ever wished he had gotten married or settled down. He did not avoid the question because he did not want to grow old with anyone. He didn't just laugh it off. He then took a moment to say the one name that no one thought he would say out loud. Kate. I couldn't have her as a lover. At that very moment, every fan theory, rumor and positive comment under Titanic fan edits felt like it was true. It was never the right time, but we were always there for each other, he said. And I might have been afraid to mess up what we had. I did not wish to lose her. That's right, the truth. He may have loved her too much to risk losing her. That doesn't mean he never loved her. Because splitting up is sometimes scarier than falling in love. Kate wasn't just a co-star for Leo either. She wasn't a fling, she was at home. He told her he had never met anyone else who saw him the way she did. That he didn't have to act when she was around. Never had to show off. She knew me before I became famous. She still sees that guy. That doesn't happen often. But things didn't go as planned. They did the same. He was seeing other people. She did the same thing. They were all important to him, but what he told Kate was the most important one. People asked him if he ever thought about what might have been. He looked down, took a deep breath and said, "Every day." However, Kate may have felt the same way, which makes this story even more scary. It breaks my heart just as much what she said in response to Leo's admission. Kate Winslet didn't say she didn't agree with Leo's comment when she was asked about it. She didn't tell him what was wrong. She didn't joke around or laugh. She stopped. She shut her eyes for a short time. Her voice cracked when she talked. I've always known that those 3 words said more than any tabloid. She said that their friendship was one of the few things in her life that couldn't be changed by her fame. That being with Leo made her feel like she was back with a self she had missed. He made me feel seen in a way that no one else has. We met when we were kids. Kate said there were quiet times, behind closed doors, when she thought about what would happen if they just said it, if they went too far. She was scared though, just like Leo. They were afraid that trying to be something else would damage what they already had. They were afraid of changing the one thing that had always been the same in their lives. I feel like we were just waiting for each other to get ready. We were never together though. She gave a very soft answer when asked if she had ever really loved him. Yes, I did. Sure, but things came up. Kate starts to cry in Leo's arms in the movie Revolutionary Road, in which they played a married couple going through a rough patch. Fans didn't know at the time that those tears were real. It was too close, too much like something we never had and never would. That scene was only filmed once. Not a single cut or retake. After the fact, Kate said it did hurt me. And I don't think I've ever fully closed that wound again. They've been calling each other best friends for decades. But it's now clear that it was always more than that. It was more than co-stars, but it was never quite lovers. They didn't stop loving each other, which may be why it hurts so much. There was no way for them to fall all the way in. One is married and divorced, and the other is still looking. This makes some people wonder if it's finally their time, or if it was already taken. Time is the word that keeps coming back to haunt the love story that never was. Because Kate wasn't ready when Leo was. Leo was getting lost when Kate was free. Someone else was always there. A husband, a boyfriend, a script, a plane ticket, and a wedding. While time went on, they kept going around each other, close enough to feel it but not quite close enough to hold on. Leo has spent most of his life avoiding making a choice. His relationships were intense, short, and over quickly. The news stories always said who he was dating, but none of them stuck. Kate, on the other hand, tried to make something that would last. She got married. She had kids. She went through a very hard breakup. They always found their way back to each other, no matter how far apart they were, through terrible personal events, world events, and decades of change. In Hollywood there's a truth that no one talks about but everyone knows. Everyone thought that Leo and Kate would end up together, but fate had other ideas. They didn't cheat. They didn't do anything wrong. There was no chance for them though. In an interview, Leo once said that he doesn't like to look back, but he wasn't sure what to say when asked about Kate. That's the thing I think about too much. They loved each other. That's not the point. Their love for each other was too strong for them to break something pure. They were like glass around their friendship. They might have missed the one thing that would have kept them from being alone because of this. They never dared to answer the question, but now that time is running out, some fans are. Could it still happen? Kate isn't married anymore. When Leo gets home, no one is there to greet him. There is nothing on the stage. The world is watching, and now the past can speak. The truth is out now, after all these years. They cared about each other. They did not hurry, but just maybe, it's still not too late. Because the best love stories don't always happen when we're young. They're the ones that make it through everything else. The ones that hurt, that won't go away, that won't end. Maybe the most painful truth isn't that they were never together. It's that they might still be. Watch this video to learn more about the morning news.